The old farmhouse had been cheap. Too cheap. That's what Sarah kept telling herself as she dragged another box across the creaking floor. She and her husband, Michael, had bought it as a fixer-upper. It had history, the realtor said. Built in 1897. Strong bones. But even strong bones groaned. Every step echoed through the house. The floors seemed to sigh when no one was walking on them, as if remembering every weight that had pressed against them. The first night they moved in, Sarah woke to a sound. Not the wind, not the settling wood. A sound from beneath the floor. A voice. Faint. Muffled. A whisper that rose and fell like someone speaking through clenched teeth. Sarah sat up in bed, heart pounding. "Michael! Do you hear that?" But Michael snored softly beside her. She leaned over, pressing her ear to the floor. The boards were icy cold, and from deep below, a voice slithered through. "Help me!" Sarah jerked back. Her breath caught in her throat. The next morning she told Michael. He laughed it off. "These old houses make all kinds of noises. Pipes, raccoons, echoes, you name it." But Sarah wasn't convinced. The following night, she set her phone to record beside the bed. At 2:14 a.m., the house went still. Then the voice came again, clearer this time. "Don't leave me here." The recording captured it perfectly. Low, guttural, dripping with despair. When Sarah played it back for Michael, his face paled. He muttered excuses. Maybe a prank, maybe interference. But deep down, he knew. This wasn't interference. This was inside the house. They tried ignoring it. But the voice grew bolder. At night, the whispers slithered through the floorboards. Sarah swore she heard scratching too, like nails dragging against wood. Sometimes the voice changed. Sometimes it wept. Sometimes it laughed. A hollow, broken sound that shook her to her core. By the fifth night, Sarah had stopped sleeping altogether. She told Michael, "We have to check the crawl space. Something's down there." Michael resisted at first, but when the voice bellowed, "I'm still here," at exactly 3 a.m., shaking the walls, he finally agreed. The next day, they found the narrow entrance to the crawl space hidden behind a panel in the pantry. Michael pried it open. A blast of cold, damp air rushed out, smelling of dirt and decay. With a flashlight in hand, he lowered himself into the darkness while Sarah held the ladder. "Do you see anything?" she whispered. Cobwebs, dust, and the distant scuttle of rats filled the silence. Then Michael's beam of light froze on something. A wooden box. It was wedged between beams, covered in claw marks. The lid was nailed shut. Michael's stomach turned. It's a coffin." The air grew heavy. The voice returned, louder than ever, vibrating through the beams. "Open it." Michael scrambled back up, pale and trembling. "We're not touching that." Not ever. But Sarah couldn't stop thinking about it. That night, Sarah woke again. The voice was no longer muffled. It was right beneath her side of the bed. "You found me. Now free me." The floorboards bulged, as if something pushed against them from below. Sarah screamed. Michael jumped up, grabbing her arm as the wood splintered. Tiny cracks spread across the planks, dust rising. And then, silence. They left the bedroom that night and slept downstairs on the couch, too afraid to return. The next day, Sarah called the local historical society. After hours of searching, a librarian gave her a chilling discovery. In 1901, the farmhouse belonged to a man named Arthur Bellamy. His wife disappeared. Rumors spread of dark practices, rituals, and debts unpaid. Arthur claimed she left him, but neighbors heard screams at night. Arthur vanished months later. No one ever found his wife's body. Sarah's hands shook as she read the final note in the file. Some said she was buried in the house itself. That evening, Sarah told Michael the truth. "We can't leave her down there. That's what she wants. That's why it won't stop." Michael refused. "You don't dig up graves. Whatever is down there, it's not human anymore." But Sarah couldn't ignore it. When the clock struck midnight, she crept into the pantry alone. She pulled the panel aside, lowered herself into the crawl space, and crawled to the coffin. The voice purred through the soil. "Yes, yes. Closer." Her fingers trembled as she pried the nails loose with a crowbar. Each squeal of metal echoed through the hollow house. The final nail snapped free. The lid creaked open. Inside was no skeleton, no decayed remains. It was a body, perfectly preserved. The woman's face pale and waxen, eyes closed as if asleep. Then, her eyes shot open, and she screamed. The sound wasn't human. It blasted through Sarah, rattling her bones, shattering the bulb in her flashlight. She fell backward, scrambling in the dirt as the woman sat upright, mouth gaping wide, her voice shaking the beams of the house. Michael rushed into the crawl space, pulling Sarah out. They slammed the panel shut, hammering it closed. But the screaming didn't stop. It seeped through the floorboards, through the walls, rattling every window of the farmhouse. And then, just as suddenly as it began, it ceased. The silence that followed was worse. And that was 3 nights ago. Now Sarah and Michael don't sleep upstairs. They keep the bedroom doors locked. But at 3 a.m., sharp, the floorboards tremble. The voice slithers through the cracks. Sometimes it weeps. Sometimes it laughs. And last night, it whispered something new. Not, "Help me," not "Free me," but Sarah's name. So, what do you think? Would you have opened the coffin, or left it sealed forever? Tell us in the comments, if you were brave enough to listen until the end.